All right. So we're solving this inequality, and it involves two steps. So let's go ahead and look it over. First of all, does everyone notice we have a positive 3 multiplied with x? Okay. Since it's a positive being multiplied or divided with a variable, we don't have to do the trick where we have to flip the inequality because we're not going to wind up multiplying or dividing by a negative. So this is just going to be straightforward. First off, let's get rid of the plus 14. We all know how to do that by now, I hope. Put a minus 14 on both sides. Okay, and let's see what we have. Well, we didn't touch 3x, so bring it down. We have opposites 14 and negative 14. That makes 0, so it cancels out. Bring down the greater than symbol. And now this is where I still see mistakes. I notice this comes up more often than I'd like. 13 and 14 is 27, and a negative makes a positive. So I see positive 27 because we're confusing rules sometimes. I think you're confusing the multiplying with negatives rule. Negative times negative is a positive, but we don't do that when we're combining or adding negatives. It's just you add two negatives, you get a bigger negative. It's negative 27. Okay, so make sure you look out for that. And now I have 3 times x, so we have to do the opposite, which is divide. And I end up with x. We didn't divide by a negative, so we don't flip the inequality. And now we have negative 27 divided by 3. That's negative 9. So I was helping some people yesterday with the one-step inequalities. And what I noticed some people did is anytime they divided and it involved a negative, like here, they would flip this. That's not the rule. The rule is if you divide or multiply by a negative. So if this bottom number was negative, we would flip it. Or if we multiplied both sides by the negative, you flip it. But just if one of the numbers is negative, it doesn't mean that you're going to flip the inequality. So this is our answer. Let's make a number line. Okay. And we want our number line centered around the number in question, which is negative 9. So negative 9 goes there. We want some numbers bigger than that. Since we're on the negative side, that's negative 8 and negative 7. We want some numbers lesser than that, negative 10, negative 11. Okay, so there we have it. All the numbers we need to use here. Okay, so now let's see what our number line looks like. This is saying x is greater than negative 9. So we want all numbers bigger than negative 9. So what kind of point are we going to have at negative 9? Is it open or closed? Open. Yeah, we don't have the little bar underneath. So that's an open point. And then we want all numbers that are larger onto infinity. Positive infinity to be exact. So in the delta, we're also going to look at what that means as far as answers. Okay. So we have a total of 5 we're going to do. That's our first one. Ready for the second one? Let's do number 2. We have x divided by negative 4 increased by 7 is greater than 10. Okay. So let's see what that gives us. I want you to start looking it over. Look over your inequality and check and see if you're going to multiply or divide by a negative ahead of time. Do you notice this? Do you notice that it's dividing by negative 4? So eventually we're going to have to multiply by negative 4. So I know that this sign's going to flip already at some point. Let's get to it. Okay, let's do this. take away 7. All right. Let's just bring down what's here. X divided by negative 4 is greater than, because this canceled. That's 0. I don't need that anymore. 10 minus 7, 3. Okay. So now we want to multiply both sides. So I'm going to circle my inequality to remind me I got to flip it. So this cancels. Bring down your x. Flip your inequality to less than. And then 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Okay. So we want all x is less than negative 12. We want all the numbers smaller than negative 12. Okay. So negative 12 is the star of the show. It's going to go here. And we want numbers smaller, greater than that, actually. So negative 11, negative 10. We want numbers lesser than that. Negative 13, negative 14. Okay. And we want open point here. And we want all numbers smaller, so it's going to the left. Every single number smaller than negative 12 would be a solution. Okay. Let's try the third one. Just going to write it down. All right. So this time we have negative 42 is less than or equal to negative 8x plus 6. Is our coefficient a negative number? The number being multiplied or divided, is it a negative? Take a look. Which negative number do you see besides negative 42? And it's being multiplied, right? So this tells me I'm going to have to divide by negative 8 at some point. So I'm going to have to flip the inequality symbol. The other thing I notice is, where do you see the variables? Are they on the left or the right? On the right. Eventually, it's a good idea to flip this whole inequality. So there's going to be 2 things that are going to reverse. The inequality symbol, and then once we get an answer, the whole inequality, we're going to flip it like a pancake. Let's do it. Let's get rid of our constant. In this case, it's plus 6. So let's minus 6. There we go. And we got negative 48 is less than or equal to negative 8x. And the 6 and minus 6 cancel. Okay. Now, we have negative 8 times x. That means we're going to divide by negative 8. The moment you know you're dividing or multiplying by a negative, circle the inequality, because you're going to have to flip it. So that's my visual cue. I got to flip that inequality on the next step. But now I'm going to do negative 48 divided by negative 8. That's going to be positive 6. This has to go to greater than or equal to. And of course, these cancel, leaving just x. So now I'm saying 6 is greater than or equal to x. And you don't have to flip this. It's just easier for me and probably for you that when you see it flipped, in other words, x is on the left, This inequality is now less than or equal to, and then 6 is here. I can see now that I want all numbers 6 or smaller. I want everything 6 or smaller. Okay. Let's go ahead and put 6 in the middle and pick a couple numbers on each side. A couple numbers smaller. Okay. So what kind of point at 6 do I want? Open or closed? Closed. I got the equal to part. And then I want everything less than that. On to negative infinity. Okay? So there you have it. All the answers that go there. Okay? So now we just have 2 more. We're ready? 2 more. Starting with this one. Number 4. 4. It's not going to look like a 2-step equation, but it is. Let's see. 9 minus x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Okay. So it looks like just a regular old 1-step equation, except we have minus x. Do you notice that? I'm going to write this a different way because I could put a number here. Remember what number can go there? 1. So I'm going to write it this way. Y minus 1x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So this is what it originally looked like. I'm going to change it this way because now that's telling me I'm going to have to divide by a negative. So I have a negative coefficient, negative 1. Okay. Let's get rid of this 9. What gets rid of just 9? 9, but it has to be, yeah. So minus 9 on both sides. And I have bring down negative 1x is greater than or equal to negative 11. When I combine those, it's negative 11. Okay? And now I'm going to get rid of the negative 1 by dividing by negative 1. Okay? And this negative 1 cancels with this one, leaving just x. I did divide by a negative, so I'm going to circle this and flip the inequality. And then a negative divided by a negative is a positive. How many 1s go into 11? So x is less than or equal to 11. Okay? Wow. Just notice I've done a lot of less than stuff. Okay. So let's just go ahead and write this down. We have a number line that looks like this. The star of the show is 11. A couple numbers bigger than that. A couple numbers less than that. And we're ready to graph. I see the bar underneath, so it's a closed point. And we want everything smaller. Okay. Okay, here's the last one. This one's going to be different. And this is leading up to the last part we're going to do on Monday, which is multi-step. Really, this is a two-step, but it's getting to the multi-step inequalities. I don't think we've done equations like this either, where it looks, I have x minus 5, all of that divided by 2. Because normally we get rid of the number being added or subtracted, right? We get rid of minus 5 with plus 5. Okay. So I want to get rid of all of this stuff and just have x. But x minus 5, all of it's being divided by 2. So I got to get rid of that 2 in the denominator. And it's being divided. So what's the opposite of dividing by 2? Multiplying by 2. So we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. That's going to get rid of this dividing by 2. So it's a little reverse of what we're normally doing. But that's going to get rid of this 2 down here. And now I have x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 6 times 2, so 12. And now I'm going to get rid of this minus 5. Okay, so now I have, this cancels. X is greater than or equal to 17. Okay, any questions on that? So it's just a reverse of what we normally do with a two-step equation. We'll do another one Monday. All right, so we want 17 in the middle. And then we want 18 and 19, they're both bigger. 16 and 15. And I see the little bar, so it's close point. Can you get the door, please? Thank you, Mark. Hello. Okay. And there's our answer, 17 and anything bigger than 17. Any questions? Okay, so the assignment's going to be on delta.